like in that first elementary. Guys, I still didn't remember what elementary I went to, right? The first time I ever used chopsticks, right? We had like lunch, but we had to be in that classroom, right? And we had to eat in the class, right? And she didn't give me a spoon, right? She gave me chopsticks, and she was like, eat your food with this, right? She gave it to me, right? And I looked at her like, what is this, you know? And I was like, I tried it, you know, and it kept falling. The sticks kept falling, you know. And she kept getting mad at me. And I was like, I was confused because I didn't know how to, like, grip the sticks, right? So after a while, I got frustrated and I put down the sticks and I started eating it with my hands, you know. And she yelled at me, you know, and I'll never forget that day, you know. She yelled at me and it made me feel so low as a person, right? To make her yell at a little child, you know, because they don't want to use the utensils they are given to use, right? It was a chopstick, and I didn't know that, oh, if I don't use my chopsticks and I use my hands, she'll yell at me, right? So after a while, my food keep dropping from the sticks, right? Because it was like little sticks, right? Like the chopsticks, right? So I was using it, right? And for like a child to use chopsticks, they don't know how to use the chopsticks, right? And it was not like the baby kind, you know, with the little thing there you can hold and it's like together, right? So she gave me that to use to eat, right? And I don't remember what I was eating, you know, because I don't remember, you know. All I know, it was slippery, you know. The food was slippery. And I couldn't grasp the food, right? With the chopstick, right? And I always wonder, why she don't just give me a spoon or a fork, right? Like a normal person would give a child a spoon or fork, right? I don't know if she was just trying to be mean to me, you know, just give me chopsticks. And it's not like I use the chopsticks and stab the food and eat it with one, right? After a while, it just kept falling, right? On the plate, right? Usually I got frustrated, you know. I never told my mom that she usually gave me chopsticks instead of a spoon or a fork, right? To eat my lunch, right? So I was eating my food, you know, and after a while, I learned how to like use the chopsticks, you know, just like a child, like using chopsticks is kind of funny, you know. To me, it was like, why would you do that, you know? For me, it was funny, just remembering, because all the times I was like using it, the food kept falling, and she kept getting mad at me because my food kept falling, and she had to pick it up and then throw it away, right? So after a while, she was like, I don't know if she was just doing it to like teach me how to use the chopsticks if we don't have a spoon, right? After a while, I got better, you know. So I kept picking it up, and I started to use chopsticks when I was like younger, you know. And in your head, you like what age you was, you know, when you started to use chopsticks, right? I think I was like maybe like 4 or 5 years old. I would start using chopsticks, you know. It was kind of weird because I always thought that how I supposed to eat with like sticks, right? Because I thought you always supposed to use, when I was like home, I usually use like fork and spoons, right? But when I go to school, I have to use like chopsticks, right? I don't know if they was just too poor to like have like a spoon and a fork, right? But it's always like the plastic ones, you know, you can give to the kids, right? Apparently, I don't know if she was just trying to like, just in case if we didn't have enough spoons or forks, she made me use like she made me use forks like one time because I think she couldn't find my chopsticks, right? I don't know if she wrote my name on the chopsticks, you know, because that's the contamination if you use like someone else's chopstick, right? So I was using my chopsticks. I don't know if I wrote my name on it or she wrote my name on it, but I always like use chopsticks and eat with, you know. And I always thought that like what the weirdest things I remember, you know, when I was like a little child, right? And it just popped in my head. Like I remember one time we had to go to like I think it was all you can eat, right? And I was eating sushi, right? And I was eating it with a spoon, or was it a fork? I think I was eating it with a fork, right? And I remember when I was like younger, you know, I was like, how I'm not using that chopstick, right? And then it just popped in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when I was like younger, you know, I was using chopsticks, right? To eat my food, right? I don't know if it was like rice I was eating with some meat. I don't remember what it was, but I know it was slippery, you know. It was like slippery food, you know. And it was kind of funny because I always thought that she was trying to punish me, you know, to make me use the chopsticks. But I don't know if she was just trying to like make my hands more stronger to use like sticks for chopsticks, you know. And after a while, I like started to get used to it and start eating my food with chopsticks. And when I went to home, you know, my mom, I always asked my mom, "Can I have my chopsticks?" You know, I didn't thought that, oh, I don't supposed to use chopsticks when I was at home. I didn't have chopsticks on hand, so I had to use it like when I was at school, and I had to like learn, you know, how to use like chopsticks and how to like grip the sticks and stuff like that, right? I didn't know why she kept yelling at me because I was using my hands to pick up the food. And she just gave me the forks, you know, to eat my food. And it wouldn't be like this problem, right? That's how I see it. But in her head is like, you better use the chopsticks or I'm going to take away your food, you know? And after a while, she did that. And that's how I learned how to use chopsticks at a young age, right? Mom was like looking at me like, kind of funny, like, what are you talking about, chopsticks? What is a chopstick, you know? What is these sticks you be using, you know? So I didn't tell her because apparently it was just not really important to tell her, right? So she gave me like fork, you know, to eat my food, right? And I like usually when I go to school I use, so at home I use like forks and spoon, right? But when I go to like to school I use chopsticks to eat, right? And I was like, in my head I'm like, how did I manage to use chopsticks, you know? But I did, you know. Yeah, like and subscribe, turn notifications. See you later. Bye.